use explicit violence in your writings?
It's what I do, is one answer. I write horror fiction. There is a kind of curiosity that we have as human beings about our life processes. One of our last life processes is death. It's a legitimate subject for curiosity. We shouldn't be ashamed that the macabre or the morbid exercises some fascination upon us. I tell it like it is. If it's there in my mind's eye, I put it on the page. And that seems to me to be a legitimate way to write.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us again for another episode of the Written and Read podcast. That is the Horror Reader and Writers podcast. Again, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you can do so. If you're listening to the audio and you want to see our beautiful faces, go ahead and head over to YouTube, click that subscribe button, get yourself some alerts. You don't want to miss it. Especially, we got a Halloween episode that's coming up in a few weeks or so. That is going to be pretty cool. We're going to do some dress up for you guys and be very festive. You guys excited about that?
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah.
You can tell by my enthusiasm.
Ready to get festive.
What's that, Roland?
I'm excited because I heard Daniel's going to dress in drag.
I have a lot of women's clothes with my kids here, so I'm sure I could get something going. If that's what the listeners want, that's what I will do.
That is what the listeners want. Y'all hear him. So,
Go ahead.
Man of the people.
Blow up the Written and Read email box with your requests. That is writtenandreadpodcast@gmail.com. And also remember to send your questions because actually next episode we're going to be addressing quite a few of the questions because we only have so much time, but we look forward to talking about that and also a convention that me and Daniel attended. We'll give you a little insight on that too. So it should be a good show. But let's go ahead and get into our introductions real quick. Just to remind you, I'm the Splatterpunk Award losing author Aaron Beauregard of such monstrosities as The Slob, Son of the Slob, my new book Beyond Reform with John Athan and Jasper Bark. And coming to you from Pike's Pit, we have Carver Pike,
Who is also the Splatterpunk Award losing author of Slaughterbox and other books like Grad Night, Diablo Snuff series, with the Maddening coming out soon. Pre-order it now on Amazon.
Go get it, people.
That's all I got.
And then from the Doll Dungeon, we have Daniel J Volpe.
Hey everyone, I am the gross out losing contestant, Daniel J Volpe, author of Billy Silver, Awakened in Blood, My Parasitic Head Lice, oh that's Carver, never mind, A Gift of Death, and Talia.
And then from the Chastity Room of Perversion, Roland Bursey Jr., Raw Dog Roland.
Raw Dog Roland in the house.
Hey everybody, Roland Bursey Jr., winner, or author of the
The only winner in the bunch.
Yeah.
International Book Award 2019 winner, Unfortunate, Payback as a Witch, and a few others that's going to be out pretty soon.
Hey,
Awesome.
Roland, do you like Raw Dog Roland or Balls Deep Bursey better? Which one are we going to go with?
Raw Dog Roland.
All right, you got it.
It just rolls off the tongue, you know?
It does. It does.
All right, guys. Well, again, we just want to remind you, even if you're listening audio, the subscriptions help. And if you really enjoy the show and you find the content helpful, reviews are also greatly appreciated. It helps other people discover it. And the larger we get, the more we can sort of give back and help spotlight some of these other authors, which we're going to be doing in just a moment. But also not just spotlight people, try to give back to the viewers and the listeners and all the great people that have been supporting the show, not only the show, but all of our work. And that's what we plan to do today. We gave away one of the Written and Read signed prints that we shipped around and had signed by all four of us. Roland was kind enough to handle the shipping on this and send out the first one to Donna Latham. So congratulations to her. She just sort of earned it unrandomly, just out of the overwhelming generosity towards not just us, but others. And she did get us those really cool Written and Read journals, which I'll show.
those are amazing.
I got mine near me. So there's.
I don't have mine. Fuck me.
Yeah,
That's all right.
Daniel.
Of course, Daniel.
Here's Daniel.
Here, Aaron, put this in there. I'm gonna hold my hands up like this.
Yeah.
Put it in there.
I think you think I'm better with the video than I really am, but either way, congratulations to Donna for that. We really appreciate it. But now we're excited to go ahead and do something really dramatic. Just give me 1 second here because we want to get some of this on video. And our good friend Carver Pike is going to bring up the Wheel of Doom that is going to allow people to see who the next recipient of this signed laminated print is going to be. So without further ado, let's go ahead and give it a spin.
All right, you ready?
Woo!
Looks like our next recipient is Scott Axelrod.
Oh, wow.
Truly deserving. Scott's the man. I think we highlighted him on the last show too.
Yeah.
Good.
Such perfect one to win it.
Kind of appropriate. So congratulations to Scott. Remember, Scott is doing some editing services as well. So like we talked about on our evil editing episode, I think I put a post up that kind of talked about how finding an editor is sort of like entering into a relationship in some ways. You know, you need that person to be compatible with you, but also call you out on your shit. And it's like, you got to be, you got to find that balance. So there's no better way to do that than maybe sending Scott over a sample and seeing if he could be the editor for you based on what he can do for you. But congratulations to Scott. Awesome guy. Couldn't deserve more.
Congratulations, Scott.
I'll clap for you, Scott.
All right, how exciting. My fucking adrenaline is just coursing through my frame. This is insane. But well, all right, let's go ahead and oh yeah, we should mention too. We've got, before we get into our spotlight of the episode, let's also congratulate Carver Pike on his activities at KillerCon and the great reading that he had. Really proud of you, brother. And I know neither of us got the award, but I think you did an excellent job on the panel. We didn't get to talk to you about it on last episode. So we just wanted to take a moment and recognize you and just say you did a hell of a job.
Thank you, man. That was a lot of fun too. So fun and wreaked havoc on my brain, but yeah, it was fun.
Hey,
No, you did a good job, and you fucking horribly destroyed Roland in your reading of the maddening. So
yeah, for anybody who didn't listen, the character that I tortured in that chapter, his name was Roland, but without the W, it's just Roland. And I named that character way before I even knew Roland. I mean, I've been working on this book for a long time. And as I started reading it, I kind of laughed inside because I was thinking about that. Like, oh, man, this is going to be bad.
So what, this was maybe a premonition then?
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, right before it, too, I mentioned you guys. Like, yeah, I'm part of a podcast, Written and Read, with my boys, blah, 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 Roland Bursey Jr. And then I start talking about
Like, and the
Roland.
fish hook went into Roland's cock. And
rip his cock and balls off.
That's okay. That's just a Saturday night for me.
Oh, shit.
Dude.
Hashtag Raw Dog Roland OnlyFans.
Roll.
All right, great. Well, and then the viewers, feel free to send in any other questions you want Carver to answer about his KillerCon experience, since he wasn't there to catch the whole thing. So if you got anything else, please send them in, and we'll have them answer them for you. But I think without further ado, right, let's go ahead and get into the spotlight. I'm going to hand it over to Roland Bursey Jr. for the author spotlight.
Awesome. I think everybody has to know who this person is. So Duncan Ralston. I don't know how many of you have read Womb, but if you have not read it, what are you waiting for? It's such an excellent book. It had me the whole time I was reading it. I was like, what the fuck? Like my eyes was like this. But it's just interesting, is crazy, an amazing read. So if you haven't checked it out, or any of his other stuff, he has Ghostland, and then what's the second one to Ghostland? Oh shit.
Afterlife. Right?
Afterlife, Midwives, and a few others. And I have them. I haven't read the other ones yet. But do yourself a favor and check out Duncan Ralston if you haven't done so.
Yeah, Womb is definitely like extreme horror. That's a sick book, man.
Yeah.
I actually listened to the audio book of Womb, and I remember I was like doing laps in the park. I was just walking in the park doing exercise, listening to Womb, and I can imagine the faces I must have been making. Like, there's all these kids and shit in the park. They're probably like, "What's wrong with that guy?" So I'm just walking around like, "Ooh, what the fuck?"
He's got a decent amount of books. He had Video Nasties. There's another one I've seen around too. I've seen people wearing that shirt with Video Nasties.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first one I picked up by him. I haven't read it yet, but I picked it up because it has that old 80s vintage style, looks like a VHS cover kind of. And
yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy too. He's funny as hell, man. He's always posting funny shit online and stuff, and just a really nice guy.
Yeah. Go ahead, Roland. Sorry.
I was going to say Video Nasties. I think it's on audiobook also because I've listened to that, but it was a long time ago. That was yeah. And I know he's recently joined the TikTok trend.
Yeah.
I've seen him post a couple of things on TikTok.
Yes.
He's on Facebook. Let me see. Is he on Instagram too?
Yeah.
He's on Instagram as well. Under User Bits, which if you type in Duncan Ralston, it'll pop up. And let's see if he's on Twitter. But I know he's definitely on TikTok because I've seen his stuff. He is. Yes, he's on Twitter as well. So all the 4 major social media platforms, check him out.
I had a nice conversation with him too because I saw that his book on TikTok, Womb, was getting some awesome traction. So he was getting in the I think like the tens of thousands of views on one of the reviews that was like it's really disturbing and this is a unique book kind of thing. So I was just congratulating him on that. Very, very a gentleman to the max. And that trend is something that we've been fortunate enough, some of us, to ride a little bit. I got an awesome trend with the slob for a little there. I know Daniel with Talia. So it just kind of speaks to the importance to our aspiring authors, right? The importance of TikTok. It's a new tool. Sometimes you don't even have to use it to get maximum sort of production out of it, but you should be aware of it and you should be on there kind of checking out that stuff if you can, and making sure you comment and engage. But yeah, I mean, if that doesn't tell you, I think that if it's trending on TikTok, it should tell everybody who's watching, if you haven't read it yet, it's definitely a book to check out. And he's a great guy. I believe he's up in Canada, from what I understand.
Yeah, I think he is.
So I think his signed copies, he might not really be doing signed copies to other countries, but if you're in Canada, it may be worth it just to reach out to him. But definitely give him a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and that stuff, so you can stay up to date.
Yeah.
And actually, guys, I have one other thing to say too. There's a cool article that he did on his website that I kind of looked at because I myself, I like to put a lot of different artwork and stuff into the book, and he kind of did an anatomy of what it takes and what it costs that he put into that Ghostland book, that first one. So for aspiring authors, I mean, maybe go ahead and check out his website directly. I'm going to try and put it up on the graphic, unless one of you guys can find it while we're talking, because I thought that article was very insightful, and he did some pretty unique stuff in that book too. I haven't read it yet, but I did see in the article that he did, he sort of mapped out the whole amusement park and did like an amusement theme map of it, which I thought was
I was going to say earlier, like when you were talking about that book, the effort that he put into that, man, like, like when you open up the theme park map for like Disney and stuff like that, he did something similar for that book, like right in the beginning of it and stuff, and had like a map created for the park and stuff, and he put a lot of effort into the illustrations and stuff, like you were saying. Right there. And
there it is. So it's www.duncanralston.com. Is that right, Daniel?
That's a hard one.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. So for the readers that are listening, the readers and aspiring authors, it's DUNCANRALSTON. Go check it out. I'm going to give you some insight. if you're looking to do something different, stand out from the crowd, right? I think that's why I admired that piece that he wrote, because I like it when people go outside the norm and do something different. You know, that's gonna get you some eyeballs on your stuff, I think, you know. So congrats to him on that effort.
Awesome.
Yeah, he definitely deserves it. Yeah, here it is. It's January 27th. Is that Anatomy of an Indie Marketing Campaign on his blog on that website. So check it out.
Yeah, a lot of the shit that we talk about on this show, and actually a lot of the stuff that is part of this episode, which is how will you sell your hell. I mean, that's a great companion to this, I think. Wouldn't you guys say?
Absolutely.
Some of the content we're about to get into. But any other words about Duncan or his work from you guys before we sort of shift gears into our topic for the episode?
Just do yourself a favor and check him out. You will not be disappointed.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Roland, for bringing that one to the table. That's a great pick. All right, well, let's get into what we got going today, guys. This episode of Written and Read is how will you sell your hell? So just generally speaking, once you've got that edited book, you know, we're kind of in the self-publishing process where we've talked about creating our ideas, outlining, writing that book, getting that cover together, getting it edited properly. Now we're getting ready to put it out into the world, right? So once you've got an edited book with a finished cover and it's ready to hit the press or get sent to a reading device, who are you going to choose to handle your prize story? The more the merrier? That's a question we're going to be talking about today, as well as getting into some stuff about merchandising and sort of organic self-promotion, which we are all very big advocates for and utilize. So let's start right at the big question, I think, right? Distribution. So what we mean when we talk about distribution is you could have your work for sale on any number of sites, right? So like you could have it on Godless, right? You could have it on Amazon. You could have it on Apple, right? You could have it. What are some of the other ones? Kobo,
Google.
Nook.
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble. So that when we talk about distribution, it's the actual process of getting your material into the hands, whether it be printed or in the device. Now you can utilize many of those at one time if you choose to, or you can sort of focus on one. Like, and really, I think one of the bigger questions we're going to talk about is with Kindle Unlimited. So for those of you who are listening and that's new words to you, Kindle Unlimited is sort of the Netflix of reading, right? So any readers can pay a monthly fee, and then they are given access to a wide variety of all different books that they don't have to pay individual prices for. And as these books are read by the consumers, the author will be provided royalties by the page count. Now, is it going to make you more money in the long run, going with the page count, or is it going to be flat purchases? That's sort of debatable. But I think for aspiring authors or people who are releasing their first book, exposure is probably the most important element that you're going to be going for. And I think Kindle Unlimited, there's really no better place that's going to get you exposure to a mass market of people that would probably never stumble upon your book otherwise. But we're going to have a open discussion on this. And Carver, I know you've maybe we can start with you, because I know you had gone wide for a little bit and kind of flipped your philosophy, which isn't a bad thing. You know, you can change, right? You can kind of go back and forth, but let's talk about it a little bit. What you've been doing.
Yeah, and I've done it a couple of times. I've tried. Like a lot of people who I think got into the game early and went wide and have done well, and they've built up their names on other websites and stuff like that, have done really well with it. And there are Facebook groups and stuff dedicated to, like there's one called Wide for the Win, where the people in that group are like anti-Kindle Unlimited. They're super into going wide and stuff like that and supporting each other and all that. And I knew going into it, and I've said in all the past episodes, my books are wide, I'm taking them out, I'm going wide, I'm trying. And I knew that it would take probably about a year, they say, for you to really start doing all right, going wide. But I just wasn't seeing it, and it's only been a few months. And like I said in a post recently, I kind of chicken shitted out, and I fully admit to that. I just don't have the time right now and can't afford to not get paid basically like that. And so to take everything out, try to go wide, and literally see nothing on all these other websites. Godless was pretty much the only one I was making money on other than Kindle Unlimited, other than KDP Select on Amazon. So, and Godless did really well for me, but it still just wasn't enough to do one other website. You know what I mean? When Barnes & Noble's not coming through, when Google's not, when Google Play is not, or Apple. Now, granted, I didn't put the effort into it either, and that's where I said I just didn't have the time for it, because each site has its own, algorithms and its own bonus structure and its own. I mean, every website has its own ins and outs that you really have to learn and focus on in order to do well on. So if you're going to go wide and not just go the Amazon route, you better be ready to learn those and spend some time on it and focus on it, and know that it's going to take a little bit of time to sell your stuff on all those sites. I just don't have the time for it. Not with the podcast here and the YouTube show that I'm doing, and just trying to write and stuff like that. I just don't have the time to focus on all these different websites like that. It's just really is time consuming. It's a full-time job. So, and I still do work part-time. So it's just a lot of stuff going on. So I did come back to Kindle. Like I said, I think Godless does really well for people. And I think that that's what's enticing to a lot of new authors right now, because there's a lot of camaraderie right now with Godless. And I think that can actually be a really good thing for a lot of authors right now. Because Kindle Unlimited is not necessarily the answer. You're not going to put your books on Amazon and just start selling like hotcakes. You guys know that. It's a lot of work. So, and so what happens a lot of times with these new authors is they jump on Amazon and assume their debut book is going to sell like fucking fire, and it's just going to, everybody's going to pick it up, and it's just going to go crazy, and they're going to be the next J.K. Rowling of horror, And then when that doesn't happen, they get, their dick knocked in the dirt, they get depressed and stuff like that. So Godless is a way to join other authors who are up and coming, and especially extreme horror authors that aren't selling well sometimes. And it's just a good place to kind of get an in and meet, I want to say, you kind of like make friends and get some backing and support from other authors that are all trying to do it. And that's actually a really cool, excellent thing that I think is going on right now. So for some people, that might actually be the route, going wide just so they can get to Godless, because you can't join any other sites if you are doing Kindle Unlimited or KDP Select. It's the real name of it. So I'm talking a lot, so I'm just pausing to see if you guys.
That's what the show's about.
That's
I have
good.
respect. When you say you're going to go wide, like how does somebody, a new person, a new author, how do you go wide? What is the process like? How do you get yourself on Barnes & Noble or on different websites?
Well, the easy way to do it is through a company like Smashwords or Draft to Digital.
Lulu.
Draft to Digital is a pretty cool one, because what'd you say, Aaron?
Lulu too.
Yeah, Lulu. There used to be one called Pronoun that shut down, but there's these other sites, and I think there might be a couple other newer ones I've heard of that you basically upload your manuscript into that site, and then it kind of does all the formatting for all the different sites for you. However, they take a cut, so now you're paying that company a cut, and also the cut. So after Amazon and Apple and all of them take their cut, what's left over, that company will take their cut, and then you get what's left over after that. So you got a middleman now. So it's easier because you've got one company doing it all for you, and that's enticing. I mean, it is much easier than, I did that the first time. This last time I went direct to the source, because with Vellum it's pretty easy. Aaron, you've seen Vellum. It pretty much does all the formatting for every site for you.
Yeah.
So then you just upload to each site. So there's that way of doing it, Roland. You can either use a company like that, or like I did, you just go directly to each site, find out what kind of formatting they need, and then upload to that site and stuff. But it is kind of a pain in the ass. And then, of course, each company has its own tax forms, which is something I ran into recently. I didn't realize, like, here I was, I thought everything was good to go, and then I noticed just recently when I went to go check sales, like on Apple, there was a notification that, like, until I went and redid my tax form, they couldn't pay me and shit like that. And it's like all that little petty, stupid stuff that just gets annoying. But it's just stuff, things you got to take care of if you're going to go wide. So,
Yeah. I could see how like trying to monitor each site and would be a hell of a job, especially if you're in 10 different places and you're trying to monitor all 10 of them. That's crazy.
Well, especially if you're like, I was getting frustrated because I'm looking at Amazon and I'm seeing sales, and then I'd go look at Barnes and Noble and it would be like for the last 3 months 0 sales. I'd go look at Google Play and it would be like you've sold $2 in the last 3 months. Go look at, you know what I mean? It's like you got to be kidding me. Like here I am going wide, spending all this time, and still the majority of my sales are on Amazon. So, and it's just so at this point in my career right now, I just feel like it's easier. And with the maddening coming out, I told you I had the maddening on pre-order. My plan anyways was with new books, I was going to put them in KU just for the first 3 months, because with KDP or Kindle Unlimited, when you sign up for that, it's a 90-day period that you're signing up. So you're making your book exclusive for 90 days. So my plan was when a book comes out, put it on KU for the first 90 days, just so my readers that are enrolled in KU can, read it for 90 days, and then make it go wide so that I can kind of reach everybody. And since I was already planning to do that, I just decided to go ahead and just go back to KU and just take them off the wide sites. But I may still do something exclusive with Godless in the future, or, do something else with Godless. But with the books that I've already published, I think it just makes sense to go back to KU with those.
I think if you're going KU, it allows more readers who maybe haven't read any of your stuff in the past, and they see, oh, he's on Kindle Unlimited. They're already paying for it, so why not check it out? So you could reach a lot more readers that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think to your point, and sorry to interject, Carver. I think Roland makes a good point, and I would say, this should always be important in your book anyway. That your pages early on should be very strong and draw people in. But I think especially if you're on KU, you need to really have a magnifying glass on that, because they can very easily just go ahead and close out of that and open something else up if they're not into it on that first page. So you need to really have a hook or a captivating line of some sort,
One thing I wanted to mention, I think is important, especially with this podcast, because we have readers and writers, listening. A lot of people don't understand, a lot of readers don't understand that when you pick up a book on KU, just getting that book isn't helping the author at all. So if you just grab that book on KU, put it on your Kindle and let it sit there, and then return it when the time comes, you really haven't helped the author. We only get paid by page swipes. So if you're not actually reading through that book, then we don't get paid. So as much as we appreciate you picking up the book, of course, some people don't know that. They don't understand that if you're not actually reading through it, like if you just haven't had time to read the book, we haven't gotten paid.
Yeah, and really, why would they, right? They're just a reader. But like you said, we appreciate you just picking up the book. But if, it's just awareness more than anything,
Yeah.
The one big thing that I like about KU is obviously the page reads and everything like that is great when people can pick it up, but they also allow you to do discount deals. So it's a great promotional tool that you can use. You could drop your books all the way down to 99 cents. I think you can run free promos on there. Mm-hmm. So if you have a shorter book, maybe that's not moving as well, and you drop it down to free or 99 cents, you will see a spike in sales, especially if you do a little promotion, which I'm sure we're going to talk about. It'll definitely help boost you, and those people that read that book will probably come back and read your other ones as well. That's the hope. So that's another plus. I think you can do 5 days every 90 days or something like that.
I think so. I personally haven't done a ton of those, but I did I think I did a free one with Pizza Face. That was one of my earlier books. And I definitely found my way to a lot of readers and people in the horror community after doing that free promotion, like Karina, for example, who I recognized on the first episode. I believe that was the first book of mine that she read. And, I look back on that and I do think it was kind of significant in some ways as far as just getting some exposure. Like, I saw a fuck ton of downloads, hundreds and hundreds of downloads of the free version of Pizza Face in that time frame. But I think at the same time, I don't know if that necessarily equates to reads, because a lot of times people will say, okay, I'm going to download it for free. And then it sort of can make it a lower priority, unless they're really intrigued, or maybe, like we said, right, those first few pages really got to crush it and draw them in. So I think that's one thing to consider. And there's no right or wrong way. I think different things work for different people, especially we all have unique products that we're offering, right? Unique stories that we're telling. But I personally like to watch and study some of the more prolific indie authors on social media, like Matt Shaw, John Athan, and what they've done to sort of grow their catalogs and get those consistent readers and vault themselves into another stratosphere. So I think, like, if you're trying to learn this stuff, if you look at Matt's posts, he'll talk about that stuff openly, and sometimes he'll say, I probably shouldn't be saying this because people I want people to read my books, but he's trying to give some advice to authors, and he's a strong advocate of Kindle Unlimited. But like I said, what one thing may work for him might not work as good for you. You got to kind of do your research and due diligence, kind of divvy it up and think about how your product's going to fit into it all, if that makes sense.
And it doesn't hurt to do, like you said, put your toe in both pools. So like right now, like A Gift of Death is on Godless, so it's not on KU, and it's getting sales on Godless and on Amazon. But my other 3 books are all on KU, so I'm getting some reads with that, and that might entice people to, if they want to read A Gift of Death, and like, well, it's not on KU, I only have one other way to get it, I have to buy it. So I don't think, like Aaron, I think we talked about it the other day, like you split some of your stuff, right? Like you have some things on KU.
Yeah, I have a couple.
Right. So, I mean, it's definitely advantageous, especially to get your stuff out there, and that's what we want.
And I mean, if you are doing one of those promotions or those countdown deals that Daniel was mentioning, go ahead and look at some cheap advertising for yourself. Like if you're going to be doing it, definitely post on social media, of course, to whoever may be following you at the time. But you may want to look at like a bargain readsy ad, that costs you $25, and it'll at least get about 30,000 eyeballs on it. That's what I did when I ran my initial promo. Is I did one of those, and then maybe some Facebook ads where you can at least sort of see the interactions and see if it works for you, because you don't want to waste your promo deal if you're really going to be strategically utilizing those without people really knowing that it's going to be there.
Yeah, that's that bargain booksy or bargain readsy. It's nice, but it's $25, and if you're doing a 99-cent book, what do you get, 33 cents or something like that on a 99-cent book? So you have to sell a shit ton of books just to make your money back. If you're just looking for exposure, it's not bad to do that. When I put my books up on KU, I don't like Facebook ads for selling, but for notifications, Facebook ads are great, and Instagram. So when I put my books on KU, I ran a simple, like a $20 Facebook ad. I got like 2,000 views and, probably 15,000 or so page reads. So I made my money back in page reads and in sales. So it was worth it for me.
And most likely you'll see residual revenue that you're not aware of from people that enjoyed those page reads and as a result bought other stuff that's going to be unbeknownst to you, So not all of it you can see. You can't see the metric data for some of this stuff, but maybe it will have an impact down the line too, and you just got to hope kind of for some of it, I think.
Yeah, and I'll do KU and stuff like that, but I think I took all my books off of like 99 cents. I really try not to do that anymore. If it's like a promotion type thing, like you're talking about, Daniel, where you're going to like bump your price back up and stuff, and you're just doing it for a short time, like as a sale type of thing. But I hate putting my stuff like permanently at 99 cents because you're kind of like teaching your customers that you're worth 99 cents. I hate to say it that way because a lot of authors are putting their stuff out like that. But unless your book is super short, like super, a lot of the books that are coming out that are really short, I mean, just a few thousand words and stuff like that. I mean, if your readers get accustomed to buying your stuff for 99 cents, they're going to wait for your stuff to be 99 cents. I mean, even your more expensive stuff, they're going to wait and hope that you're going to eventually drop it down to 99 cents. And I saw that, especially on the romance side of things, man, like so many authors started dropping their stuff to 99 cents that readers weren't buying anything that was above 99 cents. And it was just getting to where like we as authors like taught the readers that that's what we were worth. So they were all buying books at 99 cents. It was getting to where it was even hard to get readers to buy books for $2.99, which right now $2.99 is probably more of like the average kind of book, I'd say, on the horror side of things. I tend, a lot of my stuff, especially since a lot of my books, my more recent books are like full length, I kind of go with $4.99 usually, $3.99 if they're like a not quite bigger full length novel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, most of mine are $3.99, $4.99. The smaller ones are $2.99. I don't think I have any at 99 cents right now. I have to go check. But
I agree with you, Carver. I think your pricing kind of mirrors mine. $2.99 if it's like a shorter novella or a collection. $3.99 if it's like 50K words, and then anything that cracks 60, I think the standard should be $4.99. And I mean, people have asked me too, why the pricing, and you got to understand, I think, that as an indie author, like especially me in my case, like this is my primary income, so I'm putting a lot into these books. Like my books cost me over $1,000 to make a book typically. It's not cheap. There's a lot that goes into the editing, to the covers, the interior illustrations, and I think as long as when somebody tries you at that price, as long as you're delivering, you know what I mean, and you didn't put a piece of shit together, and they can tell you really put effort into it. You tried to do all the little things with formatting and make this thing a professional read for someone. It should not be an issue, and thus far for me, it has not been an issue. Because otherwise, if I was to put my books at 99 cents, I mean, they're not going to be what you guys are getting now. You know what I mean? It's not going to, and I refuse to do that. I'd rather not sell at a higher price and just put out top quality shit that like Roland and I talk about this. Like these stories are like our babies. You know what I mean? Like we get so excited with the cover art and just putting everything together and tying it together. And, you got to stand behind that and believe in yourself. Now, I think on the other side of the coin though, like if you're a newer author and you're going for exposure, it might be okay to start your first book like that, especially if you haven't sort of honed in on the craft 100% yet, and you're just kind of getting your feet wet. But I don't think it's anything that you should create as a trend. I think you need to believe in yourself and that you're putting out a good product. Otherwise, work on the product and make it good until so you feel comfortable pricing it at that.
I mean, especially when you're comparing us, if you take a look at the authors coming out of the big publishing houses, their Kindle books are like $15.99.
Yep.
That's like insane. You know what I mean? And like the maddening right now, I would say I'm working on the, touching up the ending of the maddening and stuff. That's going to be about 115,000 words probably. I'll sell it for $4.99. That's less than the cost of a Frappuccino at Starbucks.
See, I think, I think you should
go up a
sell
fucking
that for more.
Frappuccino down in a minute and a half probably. It probably took about that long for somebody to make that thing. You know what I mean? The amount of work that goes into creating a book and stuff, and it's just crazy the stuff people will spend $5-6 on compared to a book. So
I think
Billy Summers by Stephen King, his new book is $14.99 on Kindle.
That's crazy.
It is fucking no joke. The Institute, even his book Later, which I just finished the other day, was excellent. $9.99. All his stuff is $9.99. Even some of his older stuff, like Lizzie's story, that's $12.99. So, like Aaron said, that's one of the big things.
I get that's Stephen King, but not even just Stephen King. Some of the other authors that aren't as well known coming out of the bigger publishing houses are charging that much for. Because I look all the time. Oh, that looks pretty good. I look and it's like $14.99 for ebook, and I'm like, nah, fuck that. Like to me, that's kind of expensive for an ebook. Like,
I'm okay. I think that's okay, like in that $7.99 range too. Like something like what you're working on, Carver. That's what you said, 170K, like
115K.
115K. Okay, yeah, I could see something like that being like $5.99 even. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't think that's too much to ask. That's a fucking epic sort of storytelling that you're offering. And it's like, I know how much work you put into your books. It's like, I don't know. But obviously your pricing is your pricing. I'm just saying that if I was doing a word count that high personally, I think I I'd probably go $5.99 on that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where your readers are going to get hours of entertainment out of that book because it is so long. I mean, that's probably going to be 400 something pages or so. So I mean, they're going to be reading that for a while. So even for $5.99 or $4.99, is that the proof?
This is one of my MC books on the romance side. This is 150,000 words.
Thick.
And I think I sell the paperback for $4.99. So.
The ebook, you mean? No, the ebook.
The ebook. I'm sorry, not the ebook. Yeah, no.
Fucking made them money.
No, the paperback. I think it's $15.99.
I'll say the printing cost now alone is probably fucking $7.
Yeah. No, I think the paperback is $15.99. I think.
Yeah. My books are all short for now. My new one coming out next month is going to be almost 75,000. So that one might be a little bit higher priced. But again, you're not getting a book that you're going to read in a day or two. This might take the average reader, maybe a week. If you're a slower reader, maybe 2 weeks. So you're going to get that 2 weeks of entertainment. Whereas, like Aaron said, if I'm giving you a 30,000 word short story collection with 6 stories in it that you blow through, in an afternoon sitting on the beach, $2.99 is not a big deal for that because, like we said, it's $3 to have a little entertainment.
Yeah.
But definitely the quality of your work has to be reflected in the price. And when I first started, I had Billy Silver up for $1.99 because I felt like it was too short to warrant that $2.99 mark. And Simon McCarty actually messaged me. He's like, you should really make it $2.99. He's like, you put the work into it. If you think it's good, you should be getting paid more. So once I redid the cover and redid some interior things, I ended up bumping up to $2.99. But yeah, definitely look at the trends, look at what you have, and if you're uncertain, like we talked about, KU is great. If you have the book that's $4.99 because it's a big page count, put it on KU. People will read it, and if they like it, maybe they will buy it, or they'll go buy a paperback and then even make more money on it.
Roland, what about you, Roland, as far as your pricing? Because I know your stories, I think Unbortion's probably a little on the shorter side, so I would see that being a little less, but I think Payback as a Witch probably a bit longer than Unbortion, right? What's your stuff like?
Now that y'all been talking, I'm like, maybe I should lower my prices. But I think Unbortion is a hell of a good book. So I had it at $2.99.
No, that's perfect. Because it's an award-winning book too. So
yeah,
not like our hunks of shit. Okay.
And
it's not a Splatterpunk losing book.
Yeah.
This is a little longer, so I put it at $3.99. So yeah, that's how mine are.
No, that makes sense, dude. That's what I could have seen you doing, like a bargain sort of promotion for 99 cents maybe, but I think that is appropriate pricing if you want an award with the book. And that book has been well received by everybody that I know that's read it. So
yeah, it's a really excellent audio book too. That fucking narrator kicked ass in that thing.
Thank you.
And I think we'll probably talk more. We're going to pick your brain a lot on the audiobook episode that we're going to have coming down later in our trajectory, but we can't forget about that. We definitely got to make a note of that. But guys, on distribution and KU restrictions, I feel like we had a nice conversation about it, but do you think there's anything else that, we're bound to talk about it again on the podcast, but for now, is there anything else you guys can think of maybe that we want to touch on?
I think we beat it up pretty good with.
The only other thing I would mention with KU restrictions is you got to remember the 10%. I think it's 10% rule, right? That if your book is in KU, you can only have 10% of it out there in the world, other places. So I only mention that because if you have a book that's in KU, and then you also put that book in an anthology somewhere, and that book goes wide, if they decide to publish that anthology wide, your book cannot be in an anthology wide, but also on KU, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a very.
I've seen it's happened to me before, where I've had a book I think it was the other way around. My book was wide. They put the anthology on KU or something like that, and it really fucked me. It was I scrambled to not get in trouble because I was got that kind of threatening letter, your book can't be 2 places or something like that. So you just got to remember that there is a rule that if your book if it's on KU, only 10% of it can be shown somewhere else or used somewhere else, something like that. And
the rules are all on the website, the publishing, what is it, KDP site,
Select.
So like,
Author Central.
you know, if you're
There's a lot of anthologies. There are a lot of anthologies that'll accept reprints and stuff, and will say, yeah, it's fine if your book is somewhere else. We just really need a Christmas story. You can stick it in our book, you know, that kind of stuff. And then you don't think about that kind of stuff, that you've got your book in KU. You really can't do that. You can't put your book in an anthology.
Yeah, don't fuck with Bezos. They'll fucking get you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff Bezos. I didn't mean to say that.
Shout out to
He'll
Jeff.
fucking kill me. Jeffy B.
He's listening to us right now on his private jet and shit.
I don't have an Alexa, so he can't get me.
I do. He's listening to us right now.
Oh, fuck.
All right, well, okay, so we've talked about distribution and KU restrictions and sort of the, you know, the pros and cons. Let's talk about, you know, another type of sales that I notice a lot of authors not capitalizing on. At least, you know, there's definitely a few that do it, but I think if you're, you know, sitting on the bench with signed copies and merchandise and not getting those out there, that you're missing out. You're missing out on exposure. Mm-hmm. You're missing out on expanding your audience. You're missing out on money. I make real good money on it. You're missing out on making your readers happy and appreciating it. You know, it's a no-brainer, guys, especially if you've cultivated any kind of a following. You can order these copies at cost, and this may differ internationally. Like I mentioned, Duncan Ralston earlier, he's in Canada. A lot of his readers are in U.S. and U.K. Shipping's real tough if you didn't have a lot in Canada, you know, to send out. So I'm not saying it for that, but I'm saying any authors that are in the United States, there's no excuse, because a lot of your readers are going to be from the United States, and it's going to be relatively affordable to get books to them. We hear stories from readers about authors who get their panties in a bunch when somebody fucking asks them for a signed copy and act like it's a chore, that it's a lot of work, and they whine about it. And, you know, part of it is just that, you know, right there, you're giving your reader a poor interaction, right? Somebody who you should be fucking excited that this person is wanting a signed copy and thinking your signature holds some sort of value and wanting that connection with you, right? You should be embracing that immediately. It's inexcusable, you know, unless of course maybe you have some sort of disability or personal situation, but I don't think that's the case for a lot of people. So, you know, getting those signed copies in, letting people know that you're ready to engage and get these out. They're gonna obviously share with their friends what they got. They're gonna take pictures. They're gonna post it on social media, and you're gonna get on social media if you're smart, and you're gonna thank them because A, you genuinely should be thankful, and B, you know, they're going out of their way to advertise for you, okay, for free. Okay, we just talked about paying for advertising. There's no, as indie authors, I think we've all talked about this before, there's no advertising like word of mouth. It is our primary life support. And
one of my favorite ways to share on social media is just to share other people posting my stuff. Like most of my Instagram posts and TikTok and things like that are sharing other people's, you know, posts about my books and stuff like that. So
yeah.
To your point, what you're saying about getting paperbacks and stuff out there, they're more likely to show your paperback, you know what I mean, than they are just the cover of a Kindle with your book's picture on it and stuff. So
I think Aaron and you and I are probably out of the four of us, we probably sell the more signed copies. Is that pretty fair to say? For pretty much for the most part, it can be a pain in the ass. It is work, but you have to go that extra mile for your readers. They, like Aaron said, they're taking the time to not only message you. Some of these people, they get nervous just messaging you. They don't even want to do it. They're reaching out to you. They're asking to buy your work, and not only buy it, but at usually a higher rate, because we have to charge for shipping. We're not Amazon. So, you know, I always try to take the time to interact with the readers that reach out to me and to go above and beyond, you know, making sure I get to them immediately and, you know, put out, get their tracking information to them as quickly as possible. But one of the things I will say is for aspiring authors, if you do have paperback copies out there and you want to do signed copies, just know it can be pricey in that initial investment. And I think we'll probably talk a little bit more about that. But these books, you could order 10, which is fine, but you'd be surprised how quickly you might go through that. But even 10 books shipped, depending on the length of your book, you could be talking $50. Then you got to do packaging materials and cover your ears. You might want to do swag with it or something like that. Although you do have the written in red bookmarks now, so you could throw them in there. You fucking cheap bastard.
The cockeyed bookmarks you're talking about?
Yeah, those ones.
I haven't yet, but I can.
Yeah, but that stuff. And listen, I enjoy packaging them up. My kids help me do it. It's fun. It's nice to interact with the readers. So, like Aaron said, if you're not doing personalized signed copies, you're really missing out on great interactions with people, because people will message you out of the blue and tell you how much they enjoyed your book. That free advertising, shouts out to Books of Horror, because Books of Horror, I think it's RJ Rolls, he's the admin on that. That page is awesome.
Really good.
That page has supported more indie authors than any other page I can really think of. They do a great job, and the readers on that page are top notch, and they're always sharing your stuff. So that is a huge advertising. And of course, we said TikTok. Aaron, you had tremendous success on there, and I had pretty good success with a video. So get those signed copies in, guys. If you're in the States. And another thing too is, even if you are in the States, don't be shocked if international readers will reach out to you and they enjoy your work so much they will foot the bill and have your material shipped to. I've shipped books to Greece, where else? Israel, the UK, all over the world, because people really enjoyed it. So that's a really big deal for me. I appreciate that.
Roland, you were gonna interject, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet a lot of newer authors feel a little intimidated by that. Whenever somebody sends me a request for a personalized or signed copy, I never know what to write in the fucking thing. And I always feel like I want to write like the best message ever. So I'll spend 30 minutes trying to think of what I want to write before I even write it. So I think that probably a lot of people might be intimidated by it a little bit. As far as cost for shipping, it does get a little expensive, but I think that's one thing that's held me back, is like the intimidation factor. And also thinking, like, okay, so I'm kind of new still. I only have 3 books out. You guys are amazing, have so much stuff. So I think to myself, like, why would somebody want to buy a signed copy from me? I'm new. Now I'm starting to feel a little better about that, because I'm getting a little more books out there and feeling better about my work. So I was just going to throw that in there.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, Roland. And I'm not necessarily trying to crap on people. I know I came off emotional about it, only because I want people to really like understand how, like, because I've personally experienced it, right? All these tremendous interactions, getting your work out there, and just the organic growth that you can achieve from it. That's why I'm really, really passionate about it. But I know what you mean, like writing something in a book. I typically will usually just, ask the person for their name. And if they want something personal, they'll usually tell me. If not, then a lot of times I'll use like something that I think is a cool part of the book.
Tagline.
A little tagline. Like a lot of times for the slob, I'll say, oh, Evelyn, keep your room clean, and and then just sign it, something like that. It could be something as simple as that, and people will usually let you know if they want something specific. I think it's also important to ask and make sure that the book's for them and not for someone else. Don't just assume that it should be signed to them. Also, some people are particular and they don't want their name in it. They'd just rather have your John Hancock in there. So sort of just make sure you get that clarity during the interaction. And you should be good to go. I mean, like Daniel said, it can get costly ordering paperbacks. I think I dropped probably like fucking, no joke, must have dropped like $2,000 in the last 3 months just ordering paperbacks. But to tell you that stuff, I have to keep filling orders because there's a demand for it. Okay, when you send out 100 paper, like let's say the slob sacks, for example, right? Many of the people watching the show may be familiar with the promotion I did with the slob sacks. I think I got close to 100 of those. So just from that, think about how many people were interested in it, right, and ordered it, and then they were gracious enough to share it and say, thanks, Aaron, or I'm so excited. Or some of them make videos and say, look, I'm doing my slob sack unpacking. Thank you, Aaron. And then from those 100, how many more are you going to get? You know what I mean? Like they just start coming in. People start coming out of the woodwork, asking for more. And then that's when you're really treating it like a business, right? With the slob sacks, we're going to talk about merch in a second too. Yeah. With the slob sacks, it's like, okay, some of them had like a keychain, a magnet, a custom bookmark, signed prints, and of course the signed paperback. So you got to kind of have an idea of your inventory, right? Stagger it, right? So if I sold 100 Son of the Slobs and I got 20 left, I know Amazon's going to take a couple weeks to get those books to me. I better get that next order in. Same thing with your merch, right? How much of your merch has been selling? You got to kind of have an idea when that merch is going to come in, so you can stagger it. You don't want to miss out and start telling people, well, no, that's not in stock, or you can always do follow-ups, but you want to have that shit available for the customer and the reader that's taking their time to reach out to you. I think that promptness means something. That politeness, that promptness, and that quality product that you're getting that tracking number to them in a day or two. You know what I mean? You don't want to be. I try to do mail 2 to 3 times a week, which I understand that's not feasible for some other authors that are going to have jobs and stuff like that. But I try to make it no later than 1 business day to get them that tracking number, and then they have that feeling. They're like, okay, I know it's coming to me.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. See, I'm kind of.
Go on.
I was just going to say, I'm kind of having the issue that you were saying about not having the product or the stock in and stuff. But the issue that I had is I was outside the country for so long, writing books all that time that I was out there. So when I finally came back to the U.S., I've got like 30 books out, and it does cost a shitload of money to get those books in, with the idea that someone might want to order those books. I mean, we're talking, about $800 worth of books just for this signing coming up, and I probably need to get some more in. So there's a lot of books that you know what I mean? So that's, Roland had mentioned that earlier, intimidation factor as far as the cost of it and stuff, you know what I mean? Like just getting them in case somebody needs to order them and stuff like that. So, and I haven't, because I haven't, and for so many years been selling paperbacks, I need to get back into that mindset of, just fronting that money and getting it going and stuff.
And Carver, here's something that I can offer as far as something that's been successful for me to help gauge that inventory, and hopefully will be successful for others. Go ahead and get your product packages together, right? Take some nice photos of them, let people know, put some bullets of what's going to be included in that package, and then start taking pre-orders yourself, right? So you get an understanding of how much you're going to need if you're running a promotion on a new book, right? So like all my old books, I have a certain amount of stock, like I'll usually try to keep 20 or so of each in stock at all times. And then for like a big release, I'm going to order a fuckload, like 200, I think I ordered a Son of the Slob to start with. And, but I had that pre-order form, so I was like, as I was going through it, I was monitoring it. If it for some reason it got to around 100, but if it got to 200, then I needed to know, okay, I need to put the other order in now, get more coming, right? Yeah. So you kind of can stagger it and use some prediction tactics to make sure that you never run out. But again, this is me doing this full time, Roland, Dan, they're working. You have some work that you do too. So I'm not saying I would expect everyone to be able to do that, but that's one method if you're passionate about it.
I kind of do the same thing where I know my more popular books, I try to always keep a rotating stock of that. So I know when that TikTok video went out from Talia, that woman did that video, my books were literally like flying off the shelves. I had to order more, but I always try to keep them staggered. Like Aaron said, like if I know that, hey, I'm going to run a promo soon, like I'm going to get some more new merchandise and start pushing some books, I might just go on and order 25 of each book and just have them. They don't go bad. It's not like they have an expiration date on them. So if you have them stored in an area that's semi-dry, you should be fine just to keep them, packed up. And if you do get that con or a signing that pops up sometime, you don't want to be the guy to be like, sorry, I can't make it to the convention or whatever because I have no books. So trying to keep that rotating stock to me is important. But like Aaron said, everybody's different with their priorities and their finances, because for the last convention Aaron and I just did, I probably ordered $900 worth of books. So that was $900 I dropped in one shot, and they all didn't sell. So I'm stuck with some books, but they will sell. You just have to be able to foot that bill right in the beginning.
It's an investment. I agree. It's like, it's sort of a juggling act, and it's not always precise. But I think the more you do it and the more that you become comfortable with it, it's like anything else. You'll get a sort of feeling for it, and you will have some predictive elements that you're gonna be more savvy with it as it goes on. But just the amount of press and readers that you're going to make happy by doing that, some of them, it really creates a tremendous impact. And just to see somebody that fucking excited and to have such a good day when maybe they were having a shitty time. I've had so many people tell me that has been the fucking bright spot of what's going on. And you want to have that feeling,
Yeah.
So, I mean, Aaron, look at just this past weekend. We did Aaron and I did the New Jersey Horror Con, which we're going to go into in probably another episode. But we had 2 readers that came out just to meet us, that drove 5 to 7 hours, and their main priority was to come to the convention to meet us. And those are readers that we have personally sold things to, we've had interactions with, and they were so grateful for what we provided to them. And we are grateful for them to, the fact that they are not only purchasing but reading and sharing our stuff. The impact we had on each other was insane. And I mean, we had people come out and drive just to see us. Some fucking dirt bags from New York and Rhode Island. They drove all the way out there to see us. So, and that's from those interactions with selling signed copies.
Yeah.
So the importance of signed copies, guys, it can't be discounted. And let's talk a little bit more about it. And some people may be intimidated about it also because they're not aware of, they're not very familiar with shipping or how to even approach that, which is understandable. I wasn't. When I first started doing it, I was bringing in, I wasn't selling anywhere near as much as I am now. But I was going into the post office and filling shit out there, you know what I mean? Or handwriting my own labels. So once the demand is there, you're going to need to invest in some basic things, right? You're going to need a scale, right? Home shipping is the way that you're going to need to go. So first, you're obviously going to need a computer. You're going to need a printer. You're going to need
ink carver.
Yeah, and this may sound stupid, but I would suggest a black and white printer. The color printers can be a pain in the ass. If you don't use them too much, the color dries up. You get way more prints out of a black and white printer, and that's probably all you're going to be using it for. You know what I mean? So go ahead and find yourself a solid printer that's black and white only, because that's going to reduce your cost, and the ink is going to be cheaper. And because all these little things are going to add up, okay? You're going to need to get yourself a scale. Like, for example, I have this scale. I just ordered it off of Amazon. So when I weigh my brick of Coke, I just put it right on there and then sniff it all up my noses. But no, so you'll need a scale. You'll need a scale. You'll need probably some scissors, some packing tape. And we kind of talk about it in our group, right? The 4 of us have a chat group where we just talk about all things authors. And, we talk about, if one of us finds a good sale on bubble envelopes, right? We'll try them out, see if they work good. And, if people are satisfied with them or if there's complaints. Because last thing you want is you need to make sure you're shipping it properly and getting it in bubble wrap and in waterproof material. Because if you're sending out packages that are going to be sitting in the rain, you don't know the circumstance. something gets destroyed, you're going to start losing money, okay? And you don't want that. So, you know,
Aaron,
yes, sir.
do you have like the stamp machine at your house too, or do you go to the post office to stamp them out?
Me and Daniel right now, we both use a site called Pirate Ship. So basically,
Fucking love it.
yeah, it's great. Daniel recommended it to me, and I think someone else recommended it to you, right?
Lewis Kelly. I forget what his book is, but he had his book is one with the house on fire in the front. I can't think of what it's called. The Hunger, I think. He recommended it to me.
So we both. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Roland.
What is it called? I'm sorry.
The Hunger? I believe it's The Hunger.
The postage thing.
Oh, Pirate Ship. I don't know. Fucking Roland, you're asking ridiculous questions.
He said it was called The Hunger. Woman.
It's The Hunger. Pirateship.com.
Okay.
So you
So
can look that up at your leisure, Roland.
it's okay. So let's talk about Pirate Ship for a second, right? So when you go into Pirate Ship, it's a very simple user interface. That's one of the things that me and him liked about it.
Yeah, we're not smart.
We're not smart guys, not the brightest fucking bulb on the runway there. So with this, you can get rate quotes in advance, right? You're just going to pop the destination in and then go ahead and pop in the weight of the item and the dimensions. That's another thing. You'll probably want to get a tape measure so you can measure the dimensions of your package and your cock. But so when you when you get that weight up, it'll give you a quote. And it'll tell you exactly how much it's going to cost you to get it to wear. That way, you have an understanding of how to incorporate that into your price, right? So you're looking at all these things. You say the envelope cost me $1, the bubble wrap was 50 cents, the shipping was $3.20, the book from Amazon was $4, right? And for me, right, the magnet was $2 or something. Like I calculate all these things, right? The merch. Also, consider if you're getting PayPal with the fees and services, right? You may lose $1 or two if they're doing purchase protection, which they should be as a customer, typically, right? So let's say then you can calculate, right? Okay, out of everything, all of this costs me $11, everything, and I'm selling the paperback for $17 or $18. I'm going to make $6 off each one. Whatever it comes out to. These are just examples, but that way you know your cost and your profit and what you're making. So once you have all that down and you kind of understand how much these packages are going to cost, you jump on Pirate Ship. You're just going to need the purchaser's full name and their address. And the great thing about Pirate Ship is I get a lot of repeat customers. People who buy a book, buy 2 books, they come back and buy 3 more. You can have that information saved in there. So what you would do with the customers, you just want to make sure, you want to say, hey, is it the same address? Or can you just reconfirm the address for me one more time to make sure? Because you don't want to, sometimes people move, you don't want to send it to the wrong address. So that's one thing to be careful of. But for people who aren't moving, this is going to be a big time saver for you. Now, tax-wise, I would also recommend logging. I log all of my orders. I built my own Excel spreadsheet, okay? So my Excel spreadsheet says the customer name, the address, where did I interact with them, Facebook, Twitter, etc. What items have they ordered? And then there's like a number count. So I got like a column for books, magnets, and I'll put the number in there. That way when I'm filling the order, I make sure I have everything in there. Then at the end of it, it's like, did they pay? Yes or no? What is the ship date? I log the ship date. And then I put the tracking number. So once you process it through Pirate Ship, it gives you a tracking number. And then I pop that in my spreadsheet just so I have everything there. Oh, also the cost. Make sure to log your cost, what you charged in that spreadsheet. That way you have everything there in front of you. And then once you've submitted the information on Pirate Ship, it's going to pop up a label. It automatically generates the label, right? It has your return address, and then the person's name and shipping information. You print it out. I tend to do 2 customer orders at once. Okay, and the reason I do this is because I want to try and cut cost on paper. I print out the first shipping label on one half of the front, then I flip the paper over, put it in, and I do the second customer on the other side. That way I'm using one sheet of paper for 2 customers. Then I cut that out, tape it on there. Some people use adhesive labels. Those are kind of pricey. I found myself just sort of, and Daniel, I'll ask you to kind of go through how you do it after, but I find myself just taping those cutout labels on there. And then you're good to go at that point. You can just simply go into the post office. I personally wait and make them print a receipt. That way I know they've logged it all. But if you're in an extreme rush and maybe you only got a couple packages, you can even just drop them there and they'll scan them in after if there's like a massive line or something. So that is my packing and shipping process. Daniel, one other thing I'll say, because Daniel and I do sell some prints of stuff, right? Laminated prints that are signed for people. We will usually, Daniel just discovered some cardboard that is relatively inexpensive, and you can put a couple sheets in there, stack your prints on top of that, stack your books on top of that, and then your merch, and sort of just, I wrap it in bubble wrap and slip it into a packaging for those larger, more awkward packages, just to make sure that it's all tightly bound, nothing's getting fucked up. When they open it up, it's like Christmas morning. You know what I mean? So that's sort of my process. I think, Daniel, you do a lot of the same shit, but why don't you talk about yours a little bit?
So like we talked about, some things are trial and error. For a while, I was using plastic bags, these thinner plastic bags, kind of stuff you'd get from Amazon. And I had a couple issues with some post offices where the sorter, I think, was just fucking trashing these things. And even though the books were covered in bubble wrap, they were still getting ripped. And I know, obviously, I shared it with you guys. I found some discounted bubble mailers on Amazon, and I've been using them ever since. Same thing. I have a food scale, pretty much, and I weigh everything out. I use Pirate Ship as well. The one thing I want to tell everyone, too, is some people don't realize this, because I've gotten books from people. Use media mail. Don't use flat shipping. Because some people, I've gotten books from them, and they 2-day flat ship it, and it's like $9.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you could do that with Pirate, because I have media mail at the post office.
So Pirate Ship, there's literally a drop-down box, and it's very, very user-friendly. It gives you a whole spreadsheet on what you paid, sends you receipts to your email, the whole 9 yards. You just pretty much plug a credit card in, and it just bills directly to your credit card. But make sure that when you guys are sending out books, you use media mail, because you're going to save profit margin. If you're selling a book for $15, but you're spending $8 or $9 to ship it, you're pretty much losing money.
Yeah, so, or some people could be incorporating that into their base price and unknowingly upcharging their readers. I mean, so it's definitely a no-brainer.
Right now, media mail just went up because they're fucking scumbags. But it was $2.89 for anything a pound and under. Now it's $3.19. So everything goes up. I think it went up I forget what the percentage was. So definitely use media mail, and like Aaron said, it's very relieving to the reader to get that tracking number immediately. I've been on my phone just a little bit here, and I've had a few people buy a few books just now, and as soon as we're done with this, I'm going to print their labels out just so that they have it. Even if I don't ship it tomorrow, just so that they have it. And Aaron, I do the same thing. I will almost always wait for my receipt to come out. It just gives me a sense of relief to know that, hey, they have it, it's scanned, it's processed, and it's being
on
sent.
them now,
Yeah. Yep. So we'll try to. We might be able to. I don't know if Aaron could in like the YouTube description maybe put the link for some of the bubble mailers, or maybe Pirate Ship. But Pirate Ship is just pirateship.com. It's very, very simple. But,
just curious, Carver, what do you do when you ship yours? It's pretty much the same.
When I do what?
Shipping any of your books.
I buy my bubble wrap mailers just at Sam's usually. I mean, I don't ship the amount that they do,
Yeah.
So I buy like the big 20 packs of bubble mailers and stuff at Sam's usually, and then I just take them to the post office and do media mail. But
so what are you paying for those at Sam's though?
I
don't think we talked about this, right?
Yeah, you're definitely getting a better deal. I had saved what you sent me that one time. But I haven't sent out a whole bunch, to be honest, because I've been collecting books to take to the signings that I have coming up, because I've got those 2 signings that I'm doing. So I haven't really shipped out that many lately. I can't remember what the cost is, though, but I want to say it's just like 20 of them in there for like $12 or something like that. So,
and that's eating into your profit as well. I mean,
yeah.
So it's one of those things.
Also,
Yeah.
people have to understand, because you broke down all the costs of things, but one other cost is we also have to pay for shipping to get the books from Amazon to us. So not only the cost of the book itself, which of course we get them cheaper because we get author copies, but we also do have to pay shipping for those books. And I mean, when you're buying big ass bulk boxes, the shipping can be pretty damn expensive to get those books from Amazon to us. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying that that's part of the cost, so that when people understand when they're ordering a book why they're a little bit more when they get them from us directly, it's because you've got two different kinds of shipping that that we have to tack onto there, plus all the the envelopes and all the stuff you guys have talked about, your swag and things like that you put in there that I don't yet.
We're aware.
Yeah, but Carver, that's a good point though. And like what I usually do to get the base cost of the book is I just take whatever the bill for Amazon is, right? Like whatever that final bill is, and I just divide it by that number of books. You know,
exactly.
but like you said, it's important to make sure, because they'll give you a separate quote for how much the books are, then the shipping is separate. You need to make sure to use that total number to understand what each one actually cost you.
I've tend to just, I mean, to be honest, I've tend to just think of it as it's about $5. For me, it seems like it's always been about $5 in shipping per book.
Yeah.
Because it's about $3 something just to get it to them, and probably right around $2 or less for the book to come from Amazon to me. So that's, I usually say, about $5 in shipping, and then plus, like you said, we've got the materials and things like that. But yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think as you're selling books too, an important thing to do is sort of create package deals, right? So
yeah.
With shipping, the cost of shipping 1 and 2 books, it may be similar, right? There may be a certain point you reach depending on the weight and page count of your books, right? Like where if you're shipping 3 or 4 books, it may actually be the same price and not jump depending on how heavy that 4th book is. So if you can kind of understand that, right, and understand how much that's going to cost you, then you can say, 2 for 30, right, or 3 for 40, or whatever the pricing makes sense at, and then you get a chance to reward your reader for investing in you and getting more than one thing, and they're going to appreciate it. It's a win-win all the way around.
Yeah.
So that's a great conversation on the shipping. I think anything anybody else wants to add as far as like the shipping stuff?
No, I think it's not basic because it took us a lot of trial and error, but look around when you get stuff from someone else, take a look at their shipping. If you like it and you think it was well done and properly packaged, maybe reach out to that author and see where they got it. Like Carver said, he was doing his stuff from Sam's or 20 bubble mailers for $12. The ones that I'm using now, I buy 200 of them for $70. So it's a significant reduction, and they're 8 by or 9 by 12. So I mean they're a good size mailer, and I haven't knock on wood, I've had no issues with them yet. So look around. Amazon is your friend. Look for stuff that can help put the costs to your reader, or to the discounts to your reader.
Yeah, let's talk about merch for a little bit now. So if you're writing full time, like I'm fortunate enough to do at the moment, I think merch is critical to some of my success and income, and it's also a big win for the readers, right? When you can offer them an exclusive item that is with your artwork and your branding that they can't get anywhere else, along with the signed paperback, people's faces just light up when they get this stuff sometimes, and I think there's a lot to be made of the happiness you're providing your reader, and also some of the supplemental income that you can add, even if it's $1 here or there, even if you get your magnets for $2 a pop and you're incorporating them into the price for $3 a pop, that extra $1 is going to help at the end of the year when you've sold 800 books, or something like that. You know what I mean? That's $800. So taking the time and going ahead and finding an affordable site, and a lot of times with magnets, buttons, custom bookmarks, if you buy in bulk, you're going to get a discount. So what I will typically do with my magnets is I try to order them in sets of 100, which is, again, that's an investment that a lot of people probably not able to do, especially if you're just, sort of getting your feet wet. But this is maybe for more someone who's released quite a few books at this point and they're trying to put cool packages together. Go ahead and get yourself 100, because eventually they're going to sell, right? And you're going to get them cheaper. Whereas if you bought 50, they might have been $2.50 each, but you bought them at 100 and maybe they're now like $1.70 or something. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're sitting there a little bit, and it's an investment of funds, but in the long run, it should circle back. So be creative. Think about the items that you see other people having success with, or that like your readers are appreciating and engaging with and pre-ordering. But also, I would say continue to be creative. Creative and specific merch is going to help you stand out from the crowd, offer something like, I think Jim Glover is kind enough to review his videos a lot of times with his dog Porky on Porky Reviews. And he said one time, he's just like, I think I got this Wedding Day Massacre package for like $18 or something, and he's like it comes with this magnet. He's like, this is like really a quality magnet. He's like, I thought it was going to be some piece of shit. It's a nice magnet. It comes with the bookmark and it comes with the signed book. He's like, and he said, him personally, this is a reader perspective, he's like, I don't see a lot of other people doing this. Like, this is something that excites me, that I think is really cool. He's like, you'd be a moron not to buy this, is basically what he said. And that just shows you'll see it when these people start posting it up and doing their videos and they're excited about it. You'll see that it makes an impact, and it's good for both ends. I don't want to do things that fuck my readers over and force them into products they don't want. And that's another reason why, if you notice with the Son of the Slob Sacks, I created multiple packages for that. Like I let people just buy the signed book if they just wanted the signed book. I gave people an option for the magnet and the keychain and the bookmark. And then another one with the signed print coming. And I just tiered the pricing. And I did a sort of McDonald's style, number 1, number 2, number 3. So it's nice and clear and easy for them. I can just say, which one did you like? The number 3. Or somebody will hit me up and they'll say, I'm interested in the slob sacks. And I'll say, which one? And they might not be aware of the exact things in it. And I can just simply send them 5 pictures of all the different things and just go ahead and say whatever number you want. So right there, you're creating a fast interaction that saves your reader time, right? And you're not fucking beating around the bush, and you're getting them what they want. Was it the bush?
McDonald's always leaves out the fucking dipping sauce with the nuggets. Did you leave out the fucking sauce?
I put my own sauce in there, but it's not that bull semen quality, but it's a little more translucent. But
Raw Dog Rollins Ranch.
Yeah, I was just thinking of for merch, we need Raw Dog rolling condoms, but then if he's raw dogging it, he's not using them, is he? So
raw Dog Ranch, dude. That's what it is. Yeah.
You need the balls deep Versi condoms.
Ooh, that's gonna be my merch. I'm gonna get unborsing condoms made.
That's a great idea.
That's what a lot of erotic authors do.
Right.
The one thing I'll say about the merch, especially when it comes to magnets and even bookmarks, like Aaron said, you might be selling them for a small profit, but they're also marketing devices. Absolutely. So if that person puts your magnet up on their fridge or wherever they're placing it, anybody that comes to their house, they're going to see that, and you might get somebody that asks a question about it, and they're interested in it, and they say, "Oh shit, like what is that?" And then you may spawn another customer or somebody that has interest in it. Same thing with bookmarks.
Fuck, I'm gonna get the big ass car magnets then.
I think
should.
so cool.
Fucking the Maddening by Carver Pike on the side of their Mustangs and shit and drive around, you know?
You should get it put at a car wash, like we rip Roland's cock off. Fucking fish hooks.
With fish hooks and shit on the sides, just fucking dangling down. Yeah.
Like Aaron said, though, get creative with it. There's so many cool sites out there, and shop around, look for things that are quality and things that you like, and you might be able to save a little bit of money here and there with certain things. Bookmarks. I use a site called overnightprints.com. They fucking sell their bookmarks for an astronomically low price. Their quality is pretty good. They don't have a lot of variety, but if you're looking for something basic, the written in red crooked ass bookmarks, they're not crooked because of them, they're crooked because of me. So, but that's the quality of that company, and those bookmarks cost a couple of cents a piece with shipped and everything. So for something like that, I almost use them as business cards. You can put your QR code on there, which is another big thing. Everybody has a cell phone. It's very easy to scan a QR code and pops you right up to your Amazon page. Aaron, who do you use for the magnets again? Just Buttons or?
I use Pure Buttons.
Pure
magnets.
Buttons. So if anybody's ever gotten Aaron's magnets, they're heavy duty, they're large, they're very durable. They're more expensive, they're bigger, but they're of really good high quality with the image and the gloss and like the lacquer on them. I get my magnets off of Vistaprint, so my magnets are like business card size. The image is still clear, but they're much smaller. Aaron, this is the one-time size, doesn't matter for Aaron, but they're still nice. They're clear. Then they're small, so they don't weigh a lot. Able to stick them inside the pages, but they're not as nice. They are not as heavy duty as the other ones. So you got to kind of find where you can pass savings on. If your readers are like, no, I want fucking heavy duty magnets, then yes, they might not like the smaller business card size ones. If they're cool with it and they just want something to put on their fridge, then yeah, go with something a little bit more affordable, and they're easier to store. I mean, Aaron, your magnets it goes down to storage space, right? You have 1,000 magnets.
Yeah.
They're fairly hefty. You have to have room to store them. Whereas mine, 100 of them is stacked up is like twice the size of Aaron's dick. So it's easy.
Well, if you really want to go,
that's really 3 times. Don't sell me short. That's 3 times the size.
Sorry. I use my CM Genovese penis ruler to measure that while we were away at Atlantic City.
If you have it.
Okay, but
I was going to show something, but I don't know if we have it because Jules has one of my T-shirts. But I was going to say, if you really want to get into merch and stuff too, for a while I haven't really worked on it in a long time. I'm thinking about doing it again, but using Teespring, I know there's other sites like it, but using Teespring, I had a like a merch store with T-shirts for Carver Pike T-shirts and hoodies and stuff like that. And I had, which were really popular for a while, my MC series, my Razor Blade Tumbleweeds MC. I had hoodies and stuff with the colors and everything on the back, with the...
Now, Carver, was that print on demand? Was that like a print on demand thing, or do you have to keep stock?
Yeah, no, it's totally like drop shipping, print on demand type of thing. I mean, they just send it if somebody orders it. So, I mean, you don't have to have the merch on you or anything like that. So it's pretty cool. And now I looked, and now you can actually have fucking masks made. I was playing around with it the other day with the Carver Pike emblem on the front and stuff to see if I want to have masks made and stuff like that. And back then, you could only do T-shirts, tank tops, and hoodies, and I think coffee mugs, maybe totes. But the last time I looked, they have a lot of new shit on there, so I'm going to play around with it again. And you get to choose your pricing on it, and the more you charge, the more you make, type of thing. But there's a few sites like that. So, did you find it? Let me see if. Yeah, this is not. I made this one. This is one of the first ones I made.
Can you model it for us?
What's that?
Can you take your shirt off and model it for us?
No. I don't know if you can see this one. It says Chris Genovese and Carver Pike. 2 pen names, one erotically twisted mind. This was like one I just kind of fucked around with in the very beginning. And then I started doing the MC ones, which were pretty cool. And I was doing them for a lot of my book series and stuff, and just some of the quotes from my books and stuff that people liked. And but I didn't really ever take it that seriously. I never really pushed them that much and stuff, so I might go play around with them more. I don't know that it would be economically feasible, like for you as an author, to order them and, you know what I mean, put them in packages and stuff like that, because I don't know if there's like author copies of books cost a lot less than, so you're able to bring them in and, you know, ship them and stuff like that. But I don't know if the creator copies, I guess, of shirts are cost efficient enough for it to make sense to do something like that. I'd have to take a look. I don't know like what you get them for, so. But I was just showing him like this, Aaron. This is not really the best. I mean, this was just one of the ones I made way back in the beginning.
Oh,
but
okay.
But you can have you can basically, especially if you own your own images and stuff like that, you can do almost whatever you want to with t-shirts and tank tops and hoodies and masks and hats and coffee mugs and totes and all kinds of shit. But it's all like basically drop shipping type stuff where it's print on demand. So I don't know that it would be economically feasible for you to bring a bunch of stock to your house and put it in packages. But like if you provide the link, you know, you get your percentage or whatever off of whatever he sells.
I think you're right too. Also with the sizes and stuff like that, accommodating everyone and figuring out what stock to get could be a bit of a project. You know, unless it's for Daniel, then it's like, you know, extra small baby bear size. But
Child size. I shop at Build-A-Bear.
Yeah. Can I share something personal with you guys?
You said baby bear.
Personal with
Build-A-Bear.
everybody listening and watching right now? Yeah, of course.
Mostly with you, Carver. I just wanted to let you know that shirt gave me like a 60% chub.
It's two men inside of each other, Carver Pike and Chris Genevieve.
Yeah, it should be like the logo should just be like a 69 yin yang of Pike and Jim.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like-
Oh man, you got
All right, cool. Well, I think that about wraps it up for the conversation. We'll touch on this stuff again in a future episode, but based on time and what we're doing right now, probably going to have to wrap up. I'll just close with saying, also, just one last thing: sell yourself. We're not talking Raw Dog, Roland Bursey OnlyFans. We're talking sell yourself on social media, right? Be courteous and consistent and kind. Roland, you look like you got to say something.
I do. Damn, you're reading me. Yeah. I was just curious. Like, so before, like, say you got a book, Chris, The Maddening. Like, do y'all do, you know, something on Facebook? Hey, this is coming out in 2 weeks. Or, because me, I just waited till the book was ready and said, hey, I have this out right now. That was my first book. But do you guys think that putting something out on Facebook well in advance of the book is something that writers should do?
Absolutely. Hype it up. I have a new book coming out soon, and once I'm able to share the cover, when I get the cover, it'll be one of those things like, hey, cover reveal day coming on this date. Let people have anticipation, make them want to see it, and to be checking their, you know, refreshing the feed to see if it's out. And then every couple of days, or, you know, depending on the amount of time, hype it up a little bit more. Maybe put an excerpt in there and just say, hey, this book's coming out. This is where it's going to be available. And then usually when my books hit Amazon, and like Aaron said, like when I know I'm going to do my author copies, I'll set up pre-orders for personal signed books. I personally, and I know Aaron's the same way, I don't take any money from anyone until I have the books in hand. And some people have just paid me, you know, because I have my PayPal account. But for the most part, I try not to take any money until books are in hand. But that's my personal preference. Some people will, and there's nothing wrong with it. But you know, you just never know.
I have mine because The Maddening comes out. It actually goes live on October 20th, and I have the pre-order up on Amazon right now. I mean, you can go buy it right now, and then it will just be delivered to your Kindle once it comes out. Paperback-wise, I haven't put the paperback together yet. Once I do, that might actually go live before the Kindle copy, because how Amazon works is once you put the paperback up there and hit publish, it publishes it like immediately. So I mean, the paperback could be up there before the actual available date of the ebook. So that just depends on if I get it done early, like the formatting and stuff like that. But the ebook is already there for pre-order right now. So now the scary thing with that, you got to be careful, because you if you don't get the book done in time, I think this is still the case. I don't know if it used to be that if you put a pre-order up and you don't actually get the book finished in time, because Amazon will let you put the pre-order up without actually putting the book in there. Like you can choose the option that I will give you the book at a late, like closer to the due date, but I want to make it available for purchase as a pre-order. If you don't give them the book and the date rolls around, you can be, I think it's banned for a year from doing pre-orders. So yeah, you kind of screw yourself. So it becomes like a time crunch. So I didn't put my pre-order up until I knew that I would get it done. So like the book is pretty much ready. I'm just going through and finishing it up, like doing some finishing touches on it. So
real quick before we go into reader recognition for other people, for selling your hell and promoting yourself, exactly what we're doing right here. Try to get on podcasts. Try to look for bloggers and interviewers and stuff like that. You know, put yourself out there. Look for bloggers that are looking for writers or podcasts. And you know, some people are introverted, and I understand it, but you know, you're gonna have to put yourself out there if you want to not always be successful, but you have a better chance of being successful if you are out there and you're not a fucking asshole. Mm-hmm. If you're an asshole, nobody's gonna like you, and they're not gonna read your stuff.
If you're an asshole, you're gonna get reamed.
Yep.
You know.
Hey.
Roll, what's coming for you?
We'll fucking sick them on you.
You're gonna get a rim job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One last question about that before we go. I know we got to wrap up because we've been going a long time.
No problem.
How far in advance? Like Carver, you said Maddening is coming out in October. We're in August now. So, like, what do y'all consider?
September, but.
Oh, shut up. Yeah, we're on September. Like, how far in advance would y'all start saying, okay, this book is coming out, you know, so forth and so on?
Me, personally, like, I drop, like, some hints, like, people are aware of my release schedule and, like, things I have coming down the pipe with, like, my mailing list and stuff like that. Like, so they'll be aware that these books are in the works, but I won't start actively promoting on social media probably until about a month to a month and a half away, depending on if I'm on the heels of another release. You know what I mean? Like, if you just released another book 4 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, you may want to make sure that, like, you're actively promoting that and getting all you can to make that surge before you detract attention away from it to something else, you know? So it's like a little bit of a balance there. And you also don't want to put something up that's fucking like months away and people are just like, I'm never going to remember that. They might just get frustrated with it, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah, that's why mine, I put it out, so you figure it's been just over a month, probably something like that. So, but I've been talking about it and I did, you know, a cover reveal in my group, and just, I'm not the best at that plan. I need to get better at doing the marketing thing and getting, you know, ramping up to a big release like that. But so I did it probably about a month in advance. The pre-order's up. Like I said, you can buy it. Now the thing is, but the cool thing about pre-orders is when the money doesn't like I don't get anything until it actually goes live. So then it's like suddenly you get all those sales on the day the book goes live. So that's kind of how the pre-orders work. So it's kind of nice when the book goes live, bam, you have a bunch of sales from the people that pre-ordered it on day one, you know, the first day it comes out. So that's kind of the cool thing about having pre-orders. But
I think go ahead, Roland, you got one more?
I have more questions because these are important questions for me and for anybody who's listening to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So when I released Unfortunate, I released the paperback, ebook, and audiobook all on the same date. Again, that was my first book. I knew no better. Do y'all suggest, or what would y'all think would be best? Like releasing paperback and then ebook and then audiobook, or how would you guys go about it?
I tend to do it all at the same time. I don't have audiobooks really, but I probably would be okay with doing it at the same time. If you look at the way the big publishing houses do it, that might answer your question, because they never put the paperback out first. It's usually the hardcover with the ebook, I believe, that come out around the same time. Paperback doesn't come out until basically they see hardcovers stop selling. So once they stop selling the bigger, more expensive books, they, you know, have the lesser expensive book come out. So if that makes sense, I would think that's probably a good way to think of it. Yeah. So in those ways, maybe it's better to put the ebook out before the paperback. I don't know, but we have a lot of our readers will buy the paperback rather than the ebook, so that's why I feel like putting them out on the same day is fine. I mean, we have a lot of readers who won't buy the ebook; they like to buy the paperback and have the actual book in their hands. So
some will buy both.
Yeah, I would say to make them wait for the paperback is probably not a good idea. If you're going to do hardcovers like some authors do, then you might want to do the hardcover with the ebook and wait on the paperback, I would think. But
yeah, I like releasing them both too at the same time personally. And like Carver, I don't have audiobooks yet, but I probably would follow that. And I think making sure that ebook is available for the reader's convenience, especially if there's some of your more dedicated readers that are waiting on a signed copy, which is going to be weeks after. It's not going to reach them for about 2 or 3 weeks until after it's up on Amazon, and they're going to be fucking dying like, damn, man, I want to read this shit now. But they want their signed copy. And if they have that itch and it's a really hyped up book, at least they have the option to go cheaper, read it real quick on the Kindle, enjoy that experience, and then they have their nice, pristine, signed copy for their collection piece, you know? And they don't even got to crack it open if they don't want.
Nice. We're good.
Cool. All right, well, we're a little...
Oh, wait.
We're a little over, but that's all right. We're going to go a little more over to do one of the most important things that we do on the show, which is the reader recognition. Guys, who are we doing this week? Or this episode, I should say.
Roland.
That was me.
We love you, Roland. Thank you for everything you do.
It was Todd. Todd Love.
Yeah, there you go. I was quizzing you.
Yes, Todd Love. You guys know of him, and he's all over social media. He posted a recent review of Payback as a Witch just a couple of days ago, and it was a great review, and I'm so thankful that he took the time to read it and let me know his feedback on it. So I just wanted to say thank you so much to Todd. He also has a book out right now. What's the name of it, guys?
Platinum Blondes? He's got a few.
He's got
several
Tortured Souls, I think is his...
His most recent one is Tortured
Yeah.
No, isn't it Tortured Tales? Is it Tortured?
It is Tortured Tales. You guys right? Yeah.
All right.
So
Stop fucking around, Daniel.
Sorry, Todd. You're my dude.
So thank you, Todd. I just wanted to say appreciate you taking time to read my book and let me know how you feel about it. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, Todd's reviewed quite a few of my books too. He's also bought some from me personally, and the shipping to Canada is pretty high fee. So he went out of his way and ate that fee to just get some signed copies from me. So I really appreciate it. The interaction with him was great. I enjoyed talking to him and hearing about how he was excited to start releasing some of his own work, which I'm definitely seeing his books pop up in different places right now. You can find him on Godless. He's been getting some reviews on Godless. Maybe we can also give him an author spotlight down the road, as we cycle through. But thank you, Todd. Really appreciate you, buddy.
So actually... go ahead, Carver. I'll go fuck myself.
Todd, way before he even put out his book and stuff, I mean, he was so active and reading my stuff and just so active on social media, like sharing everybody's work and stuff like that, before even really ever mentioning that he was going to be, writing his own books and stuff. And then I had the pleasure of reading Tortured Tales on my YouTube show, First Chapter Freak Show. And he's, out of all the authors, most of the authors that I've read have done a pretty good job of, mentioning the show and stuff like that and helping promote it. But he's probably been the best. I mean, Todd's actually several times, and I read his book probably a month or two ago, and he's still, I think just today or yesterday, he mentioned it. So, mentioned me reading his book on the show and stuff and promoted it and things like that. So he's just constantly promoting other people's work and things like that. And he's just a really cool dude all around. So thank you, Todd.
While we were actually filming this episode, Todd was messaging me on Facebook because he wanted to get the dual signed copy of Between a Spider's Eyes that Aaron and I both signed. So, like Aaron said, Todd goes above and beyond to pay for that extra shipping to get a unique, item from us. And I told him, I was like, obviously the shipping is going to be higher because it's a heavier book. And he's like, I don't fucking care. Tell me how much it is. I want that book that's signed by both of you. So when we're done with this, I'm going to pirateship.com and I'm going to fucking find out his how much it costs. Pirate Ship, you need to sponsor us.
I was gonna say, are you gonna get off their dick now or what?
Give us some money,
Stop
motherfuckers.
sucking Pirate Ship's balls at any time.
Yeah. Yo, cannonballs.
Well, I think, guys, this was an information-packed episode with the appropriate amount of ridiculousness.
A little bit.
But I do think that there's more to be talked about on this topic. I don't think necessarily we need to go back to this next episode right away. But as we continue to talk and we went over in this, it just feels like there's more to talk about. And as we all continue to promote our books and do new promotions, we definitely need to revisit this topic. Maybe in like 6 months or something, and see, as you guys start to ship more too, what your experience is like. If you see some more organic growth too, and just how it evolves. If we have any other things we can offer. And again, we're not the only source for this stuff. Continue to look at what other authors are doing, people that you aspire to be like, people that you like to read. Go ahead and follow them on social media, and get all the angles, and then that's going to give you the easiest way to decide what's going to be right for you. So, again, thanks to Duncan Ralston for being the spotlighted author. Thanks to Todd Love for being the reader recognition, also an author though. And, be sure to check both of them out. And I think that's, we're gonna kind of wrap up with our normal little spiels. And I'm Aaron Beauregard, and you can reach out to me directly if you want signed copies of anything, obviously, after hearing this fucking episode, or merch or anything like that. And, my stuff's on Amazon, of course. I will also announce that Daniel and I have a novella that we're working on that's going to be released October 4th, exclusively on ebook from Godless. And then the paperback will be being released a little later in October. It is Halloween themed. It is incredibly disgusting, and I think it's going to be a great read for you guys. And we're going to have some exclusive packages coming out that will offer dual signature, just like you saw for Between a Spider's Eyes, with some really cool merch. This one's going to be special, so I'm pumping it up a little bit. And Carver, what do you got to say?
Well, my stuff is only on Amazon now. You can only find me on Amazon and all the social media sites as Carver Pike. Pick up a pre-order copy of The Maddening. That's the last book of my Diablo Snuff series. If you want to start with the first one, go back and pick up A Foreign Evil. Check out my YouTube show, First Chapter Freak Show. And that's about it. You can find me everywhere as Carver Pike, all social media. Daniel J.
Volpe, everywhere, pretty much. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. And like Aaron said, just to reiterate that fucking novella we're doing, the artwork we have coming in for it, that's going to be the merchandise stuff, is going to be fucking amazing. So I'm very excited to get that going. It's probably going to be one of the more brutal things you're going to read this year. We might get fucking banned from Amazon because it's going to be fucking savage. So, Roland.
My echo is listening.
Oh, don't say that. Sorry, Jeff Bezos. I didn't mean that. No, it's going to be a good book. Lots of story, some graphic violence and shit, so get ready for it.
Thanks.
Roland, play us out.
Roland Versity Jr. You can find me on my website, rolandversityjr.com, on Amazon, portion on Godless. Send me a message on Facebook. Always love to meet new people and say hi to you guys.
Awesome. Always a pleasure to do the show with you guys. Carver, good to have you back. Yeah. Always a pleasure to have you guys watching and listening. And until next time, remember, keep it 100% horror.